Hello all, welcome to the channel. Today I bring you something a little bit different. Tech exchange real-time trading. Now this is based off a tech deck. We've got the designer here, Ben Cheung, and this particular game is literally just a deck of cards, but it's been modernized. And I'll be bringing you guys a run through next week. So just a quick overview this week. Now we have got a game that plays in 60 minutes. You will easily get this in about 30-40 minutes. 2 to 6 players. If you want to play 5-6 players, you will need 2 of these decks, and this is a lightweight game. Now with this deck, I should add, the designer has brought a host of games, and this is one game in particular, Tech Exchange, that's kind of more economic, and there's a host of different games that aren't economic. There's another one I'm looking to bring to you guys in the future, Gears of Industry, once I've learned that one, and show you how that works. So the tech deck in general is a pack of cards, 52 cards. You've got some jokes in there as well, and it's just been modernized. So you got, this Internet of Things, you got your typical clubs, but it's known as technology, and they've got effects on them. They've got snippets of information to learn, and you got things here. The Internet of Things is conceptualized. So a host of cards to really sift through and have a little look what sort of effects are on them. For this particular game then, real-time trading, we start out with these 4 cards here. You got the aces, or you got the, as they're known as, technology. You've got the science, knowledge and services. You set up here, you tilt 5 cards at the bottom of the main deck here, and each player is going to get 8 cards. If you're playing 2-player game, it will be 10 cards. You keep these secret. Now there's some detail in the rules about stock trading and the history of it, and I like to visualize these as companies, and the more valuable they get, the more sort of combinations with your stocks you're trying to make to maximize your value of the companies at the end of a round. And you play over 3 rounds is recommended. You will score points at the end of a round, reset to how it looks now, and play out those 3 rounds, tally up your points and see who the winner is. So how are you going to score points then? So looking at your hand, you are attempting to get triples, quadruples, and up to 1 flush. So at the moment, these guys have not got a fat lot. We've got 2 6s there. We have got, we got anything else? No. We haven't really got. We could have a flush maybe of these 3 here, so you can see we're going to have to trade hard of our opponents to get what we want. So I'm just going to keep those visible to you guys there. Now these would be secret. These guys, what have we got? We've got 2 11s, we've got 2 12s, so maybe we're after a 12 or an 11. Okay, that's their hand again, secret normally. And these guys, what we got? We've got a couple of 9s, a couple of 3s, so you can see roughly what you're after. And at the moment, the market, the company values are all at once. You're not quite sure how your strategy is going to play. But equally, there's another level to this game. You're looking at these card effects, and it might be, I don't want to actually try and use these 9s to get a combination of 3. I really like the effect. I'm going to save it for later because there's a card effect round. So everyone's looking at the cards. You start the first trading phase. Boom, everyone's simultaneously. I'm after this. I want to trade this. These guys are like, okay, I'm after a 12. Okay, yeah, I've got a 12, and I'm looking for, they got anything? They quite like an 11. Okay, I'll give you the 12. Boom, they take it. These guys take the 11. So you can see already we're starting to build our hands. Now you can trade up to 2 cards for 1 if you're willing to do so. That affects how many cards in your hand, which will matter at the end of a round, and I'll go through that in a minute. So every time a trade is committed, you will take a card from the top of the deck, reveal it, pop it down on the matching symbol. So we've got a knowledge one here, and trade continues. Other people are like, okay, I can better you. I really wanted that 12. I will. Well, now information is starting to open out, and these guys are like, okay, well, they don't need a 12, but thereafter, what can we see? And obviously all this is secret. I've got an 8. I really want to trade it. Okay, these guys are like, right, I'll give you a 6 for it. Yeah, they've got a 6. Trade done. Reveal this one. This goes on the technology. You keep trading until one of these stock stacks, they're known as, hits a level of 3. So we've hit 3. Trading ceases. We then go into the card effects phase. So we start with the start player. Let's say these guys, they're going to choose one of these effects if they want to. So let's go for medical sciences then. You will discard the top 3 cards of the deck. So discard those. Let's actually do this. So they're now sort of face set. And you take any science or any technology card in the discard pile into your hand. So you're looking through these, you're like, okay, there is a technology, I can take that one. Now I should add that when you play one of these, you will have discarded it and you've revealed a new one into your hands. That's secret. Now the first two players to play these effects, so let's say these players do an effect, and then these guys, once they've done that effect, only the first two players, they'll take the top card as well and add it to the relevant stock stack. So here we can see the values are ever changing. So these guys are up next. Let's say it's gone clockwise, and they're like, okay, I'm not going to play an effect. I want to keep them because I'm trying to build a set 3 or 4 or flush. These guys are up, and they're like, right, space, sciences, launch, exchange the cards in your hand with another player. So if you've had this from the beginning and you've been listening for them trades, and you've heard these guys, they've been getting the 11s, and they look rather happy. They haven't been keeping the poker face. You play this, you exchange your hand, boom. Now I should add, I'm on a side note, these cards, you could play any game, folks. You might play poker, you might play 21s, and you can introduce these card effects just to mix it up a bit and change all sorts of card games. So absolutely love that. So we spent that, we've changed our hand, boom, and equally we gained a card for having discarded that. And because they were the second to do the effect, we reveal one of these and we put it on the relevant stock stack there. That is the end of the card effects. We then go into the second trading phase. Boom, it goes. I want to trade this for that. Boom, we'll do that. Reveal the card again for each transaction. Now you'll notice this time that it isn't up to a level of 3. It is once the deck hits these 5 cards that you've slightly tilted, or everyone is just kind of finished with trading. There's no trades happening. Boom, end of the second trading phase. We go into the second card effects phase. So you get a chance to play one of these cards again. Let's say it was these guys starting, boom, they play the effect, do whatever it says. Now if it's exchange, you swap it with the exact card. You've got replace, which is where you discard it. So there's a few terminology you have to get used to as well, described in the rules. So yeah, they may be passed. These guys, they want to do this effect, boom, they do whatever it says. Remember, you take a card if you've used it, and equally the first two players to have played card effects would have added one of these to the stock stacks. Now maybe you don't want to do that because you're quite happy that this is getting more valuable, and you don't want to actually have that unpredictability of what's going on. So maybe they didn't do that. Okay, so after the second card effects, you reveal in score. So you would have had much better hands than me here, but let's just say these guys, they've got the one flush here, so that's there, and they've got nothing else here. Well, firstly, actually, you'd go, right, 2, 4, 6, 7 cards there. Let's say these guys had 8 and these guys had 8. Everyone has to discard down to the minimum that one player has. So these guys are like, oh, I have to get to 7, but I had the perfect hand. So they discard these two, these guys discard them, and then you make the best hand out of what you've got. So, these guys here, they couldn't quite make the triples work and the quads, so they haven't actually got anything. 0 points for that round, but it's so quick. 3 rounds, boom, you tally them all up. These guys, what have we got? We've got an 11-11. Runs don't count. We've actually got a flush here. Remember, only one flush because they're quite easy to get, the flushes. So these guys then, a flush is fairly easy to get, but it commits you to a specific stock. So you can see they're committed to technology. 3 cards times the 3 is 9 points. If they'd have made it a flush of 4, 4 times the 3. Now the reason triples and quads, they're slightly harder to get, but they give you more diversification, because let's just say, can I make 12? I'm sure I saw a 12 out there somewhere. Let's try 13s. Yeah, okay, so let's just assume this player had this. They've made a triple, but you can see obviously there's only one card of each type. Unless you're playing 5, 6 players, then it brings more variability. But these guys have a choice of which stock they pick. Clearly they're going to want to go for one of these two, so they're going to go 3 times this specific one, but there's 3 cards in hand. 3 times 3 is 9. Now if it was the case that hearts, let's just assume hearts are really strong, they've missed out on the opportunity for that multiplier, because 4 times Nope, you can't multiply by 3 because there's no heart in here. So that's why you want to get the quads, because it gives you a bit of everything. You then reset after that round, keep note of your points, swap the first player, reshuffle all this, deal out 8 cards to each player, and you carry on. Most points at the end of the 3 rounds is the winner. There we are, Tech Exchange, folks. What a game. I'm literally going to keep this deck everywhere I go. It's so useful. I'm excited to learn the other games as well. There we go. Enjoy.